and welcome to Something Witchy, a Sabrina the Teenage Witch rewatch podcast. I'm Laura Cotter.
I'm Sky Orchard.
And we have a very special guest with us. Everybody welcome Curtis Andersen, aka Gordie.
Hey!
We're so excited to have you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, no, it's my pleasure.
You are our very first interview.
Yes, congratulations.
This will either go remarkably well or horribly wrong. There's going to be no middle ground.
I'm a big advocate for getting the suck out, and I feel like I'm a safe place for getting the suck out.
I love that. And if it's really horrible, we just won't air it and nobody has to hear this ever.
Exactly. We'll just skip over Salem the boy and it'll be fine.
Yeah, no, like
fine.
never existed.
Never happened.
I do have to start things off. I have one piece of trivia for you.
Yes.
We belong to a very, very small club in that you, me, Sky, Nate, we all have Sabrina the Teenage Witch related podcasts where one host has expressed on multiple occasions their extreme dislike of former President Ronald Reagan.
Ah, yes.
And the other host has discussed their asbestos exposure. I think it's safe to say we are the only two podcasts in that category.
Yeah, one or the other is really going to loop in a lot more people, but the Venn diagram of the two, that has got to be tight.
I only had the Ronald Reagan half for a long time, and then I listened to the most recent episode. I was like, I've had this conversation with Sky.
Yep, there you go. I want to know who else both despises Reagan and has had asbestos exposure. Who else can join this club?
They're out there somewhere.
I think that Venn diagram is pretty big. I think once you throw in the Sabrina podcast, it gets a little bit smaller.
I forget about that. That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
But...
I guess, to be fair, I don't think of us like as a Sabrina podcast. And yet I know the only reason we're experiencing success right now is because we're boys from Sabrina. You know what I mean? Like, I get that, but I forget. So yeah, okay. You also have to have a Sabrina podcast. And it can't be made just to be part of the Venn diagram. You've got to establish.
If you have mesothelioma now, do not start your Sabrina podcast. It is too late for you. But please call a lawyer.
Hey, you can last a while with mesothelioma.
I like how Sky is just throwing it in there. No, you got time. Don't let anybody crush your dreams.
YOLO.
You got time.
Well, now that the ice is officially broken, we do have a very Sabrina-centered podcast. And so obviously the people are going to want to hear about your Sabrina stuff.
Absolutely.
So let's just dive into it. Let's talk about what did that initial process look of auditioning? I know you've done other things before Sabrina. What was the Sabrina process like?
It was actually a really funny initial audition because I had actually done several other commercial auditions that day. And it was a hot day in Los Angeles, which, surprise, surprise, happens quite a bit. And I had been in traffic all day because I was an Orange County kid who had to go to LA to do that stuff. And it's only about 40 miles, but it takes you a minimum of an hour and a half to get between the two counties. So I had been driving all day, hours and hours and hours. I had already had to make faces and fall down for 2 other commercial auditions. And then I pulled into the Universal lot, and the gate that they had you drive into back in the day, they don't even have this gate anymore, was the one you drove onto to audition for things if you were gonna... Oh, wow, so much context. So there's pre-read, callback, producer session, and then if you're like a regular or something like that, then you go to network and testing. But normally, you'd only go to this gate if you were doing a callback or a producer session. And for a while, I worked a lot, so a lot of times I was being called directly in for producers. I didn't really know what was going on here, though. I just know I had to report to that gate. It was a new show, and it was like 2 lines. It was an under 5, so stakes were low. Just go in and do your thing, and I was exhausted. Just exhausted. So I pulled into the gate. The security guy at the gate, we knew each other because we had seen each other. And he was like, hey, what are you doing here today? And I was like, oh, it's a last minute audition for this new show. And he was like, oh, okay. And pointed me to where I was going. It was deep on the lot. And I got in, and I didn't realize that I was reading for Paula Hart and Nell Scoville, who is, as I'm sure you know, credited creator of the show. I just knew that I was reading for 2 very nice women in a room. And I thought that it was a pre-read. I knew it was a new show, but I figured they just didn't have their casting office set. So I'm going in for a pre-read. That's what I'm expecting. So I do this is for Bump Friday. I do you're still a virgin? So am I. We do that bit. And they laughed. And I was like, great, thank you so much. Woo. It was really fast. It was go in, go out. As I'm driving home, I get the call from my agent. Hey, you booked it. You're working this day, this day, this day. So the initial audition, actually, thank God I was exhausted. I just wasn't in my head at all. It was set up joke, deliver the thing. What really happened was things went really well on set that day, even though the early part of the day, we talk about this on the podcast. My first day, the other guy that was in that scene with me and we ended up talking about movies in our trailer for so long. We forgot to get ready.
Oh, no.
And so Paula was like, hey, we got a show to shoot. And we were like, oh, that's okay. Yeah, we're going. We're going. But things went really well that day. And they wanted to call me back. And so originally the idea was, we're going to have you come back, but it's not always going to be the same character. I like to call, and other people call it this, being Law and Ordered, because Law and Order has a reputation for reusing the same people as different characters. So the second one, Geek Like Me, they dyed my hair brown, put me in glasses. We did the geek over look. But then after Geek Like Me, they were like, okay, we're getting rid of the brown hair. We're not doing the glasses. We're going to change you up, but you're still Gordie. You're still Gordie. And then Gordie just kind of stuck after that. So yeah, so it wasn't really until, God, I forgot what the third episode was that I did. But it wasn't until that third episode that Gordie, as we knew him by the end, actually became the Gordie that is.
Trial by Fury, I believe.
Yeah, that's it. Good job. Good job.
Guy did homework before this and actually rewatched the episodes.
Nice. Nice. In Geek Like Me, when I slammed my head against that locker, I was so determined to actually pound my head every time.
Oh, no.
And Nate stopped me and he was like, you can just kick when you open it and react. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm doing this. I just really wanted to make it real. And it was a poor choice.
I imagine.
But 19 and 20-year-old Curtis was an idiot. So, lessons learned.
As we all were at that age, to be honest. So,
Suffering for your art.
Yeah.
I believe we call that method acting now. So,
Yeah. I was very geeky. I stayed in character the whole time. It's not that it was my natural personality. Quiet you. No. I was completely method. That's what was happening.
Yes, that's what we'll go with.
Yes. I've got a director buddy who works at Lucasfilm now, and he used to say, I was an idiot 5 years ago, and it just stands. It's just a standing rule. I was an idiot 5 years ago. I think that really just multiplies geometrically as you go back. Yeah.
So what was it like behind the scenes on filming days, especially there were a couple showrunner changes there? Did y'all have a traditional sitcom audience, or was it all laugh track?
There was no audience because the amount of special effects that were done the number of effects were so high. So it took a solid 5 days to shoot an episode. And then occasionally you'd work in a bottle episode, where you just get a couple scenes over a couple weeks to get that extra episode in. Everything was laugh track. So the goal was always to make the crew laugh. Now, I can tell you this strongly from my point of view. I was a guest star cast member. So, as you know, 10 episodes over 3 seasons, I just kind of dipped in and dipped out.
Yeah.
I wasn't around when it changed from Nell after the first season. So I wasn't there at the moment. So I didn't even know it happened, except that all of a sudden Nell wasn't there in season 2.
Okay.
And for me, the effect on set was actually really small because everybody else was still the same. And to this day, I've been on a lot of sets, to this day, Sabrina the Teenage Witch was actually one of the nicest and most welcoming sets that I had ever been on. My own anxieties aside, because I had my own personal anxieties that had me going crazy. But everybody on that set, from Paula and Melissa on down, everybody was just very welcoming. So it felt really cool to go home, to go on a set every time I was there. And it's part of how Nate and I became good friends. I've shared this before, so I don't think he'll be embarrassed by me saying it. But during the second season, I came in for an episode and I showed up and Nate saw me and he was like, hey, I saw you were on the call list today and I knew we were going to have a good day. And I was like, oh, that's really nice.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. And then I used to run into Jenna at commercial auditions and stuff around town. So it was, it was really great. The biggest changes I noticed, we actually changed first and second ADs all the time. And that was the bigger shock because I would always be like, where'd those guys go? Oh, they're gone now. Where'd these guys go? They're gone now. It's like, oh, wow. So like that was the bigger turnover that I noticed, but otherwise it was chill. It was pretty great. We did sushi every episode over at a place called Amagi's that doesn't exist anymore. And yeah, it was just really nice. It was really
That's
nice.
awesome.
I don't even have to lie about that. Like I can legitimately say.
I mean, if we really want ratings high on this episode, you better dish some dirt at some point.
I know, right? I'll just talk some like trash on Nate or something because that way he can
actually
just deal
killed
with me
somebody.
on the show.
Did you know?
Buried underneath the Paramount lot is the bodies of Nate Richards' many murder victims.
That's how he knew not to smack your head on the locker so hard, because he's literally bashed people's heads into the lockers.
We had new extras every week, and I never really understood why until...
Is that what happened to Jenny after season 1?
Oh my gosh.
You know, I don't know about that either. There were so many changes between season 1 and season 2, and I didn't know Michelle that well. She was always very friendly, but I was nervous. I'm used to being guest cast. And when you're guest cast, you show up and you fit in as best you can, and then you go and you don't know if you're ever coming back. So you're not making like lifelong friendships. There are exceptions, obviously, but you don't expect that going in. So you're really just hoping to have a good time while you're there and then peace out. So while I knew Michelle while I was there, when we got to season 2 and she was gone, I was just like, I guess casting changed. But I also knew she was Canadian, and I was like, maybe she just decided she wanted to go back to Canada. Honestly, I still don't know what happened with that casting shift. But then Lindsay Sloan is really, really cool. And I think Valerie was a really neat addition to the show. So, you know, hard to say. I feel like I didn't actually answer that question. I also may have tried to answer something you didn't ask. And then I rambled. But that's the quality of podcasting. That's what we're doing.
I mean, I think you've listened to at least a part of one of our episodes, so you know that we love to ramble. We love a tangent. It's the best.
I did my homework before. Actually, when we first saw y'all, because there have been a few rewatch podcasts that have existed. And, you know, I've talked to several of them over the years. I think you're the only one that's currently active that has any kind of listener base. So first of all, congratulations. Good work.
Thank you.
Good work. Also, you're the first thing that pops up whenever anybody searches it. So it's like, oh yeah, SEO to the max. Got that in full effect. Good job. So I was like, Nate, this is actually, we should listen to this. we should listen to this. These people are for real. And yeah, we relate. I feel like we have similar podcasting styles.
Yes.
I also really like the videos that you two do when you're snack tasting and and we're drink tasting. Sky, I'm just proud of you that you're expanding your horizons.
Oh gosh. I question it sometimes. Suffering for the art.
There's been a few things that I'm like, really? You'll do this. Sure. Let's do it for the views.
Do it for the gram.
Guy has no ego.
Something witchy hot ones. That's the next step.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, cinnamon bears make me cry. That would, I guess it would get ratings, right? Like,
you know, Sky, it's so funny you say that because I can't do cinnamon oil anymore because it makes cankers in my mouth.
Ooh.
Like it just eats away at the tissue. This is gross. You don't want to listen to this, people. It just eats away at the inside of my cheeks. So like I can't have cinnamon bears anymore, but cinnamon stuff was my jam for my entire childhood until about 22 when my body was just like, we can't do this.
There's so many things you can no longer eat after the age of like 35, which is a
real
real bummer.
It gets worse after 45, and I'm a little terrified for 50. But we'll creep into that as we have to.
Is this why old people turn to prunes? It's all they have left.
Yes. You get rice, boiled chicken, and soft fruits, and that's about it.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Back to Sabrina.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking. That was all Sabrina related. Every bit of that.
Sabrina podcast. Done.
Yeah.
I've noticed on like our episodes that we really just are not into the episode. They're actually our longest recording sessions because we spend so much time talking about like anything else.
Not that we're not interested in this episode. An interview.
This is literally my favorite episode.
Different type of tangent. This is a fun tangent. Those are ones where it's like, can I literally not talk about this plot for 5 minutes, please?
Yeah, I get it.
Well, the one we just reviewed, Sail and the Boy, that was your second episode with Phil.
Yes.
We have, in 2026, his character did not age well.
There are some things that the 90s,
Yeah.
it was a different time.
He seemed like he'd be super fun to work with, though. And you worked with him pretty closely in Salem, The Boy, and Suspicious Minds.
Yes.
So how was that?
Phil Fondacaro was great. He is like solid professional. He's been in everything. And he's just a cool guy. Like, I haven't seen him in 20 years, but Nate actually still talks to him quite a bit. And I think they actually did a con only a few months ago in Jersey or Florida. It was on the East Coast.
Something on your podcast is about him getting headshots of the two of them to sign.
Yeah. And so, yeah, working with Phil was great. He was always a really good sport, too, about whatever outfits they decided to put him in.
He was in some outfits.
The suit was cool. Like, legitimately, you see it in the episode, but legitimately that suit was cool that he wore as the detective.
Yeah.
Like, it was that was a crisp suit. But good on him for the leprechaun outfit. Speaking of the leprechaun outfit, the rainbow
Yes.
that shows up, now that's an effect, right?
Yeah.
We had a real rainbow built in the scene for the effect so that there would be like placement. It was a wooden arch with colored lights in it to mimic rainbow stuff. And this is where memory starts to challenge me because this was a long time ago. But I want to say that they tried to get him to slide down the rainbow. And you could tell in the episode, they clearly just, screen grab, move. And that's definitely the safer way to go. I don't remember if they actually talked him into trying to do it. But there was a legitimate rainbow in the hall when we shot, just for like the effects plate.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it would have been funny had the rainbow just looked like that, and it would just like, that's just Roland's magic. It's just not very good.
Yeah. Not meant to be a leprechaun.
Right.
What other memories do you have of that episode?
First of all, I didn't know it was going to be my last one, but I was finally getting into the groove of being able to play with everybody and feel comfortable. And this is on me personally. This is not on anybody else. I was finally feeling comfortable enough as an actor to actually make suggestions and finding out that people were willing to go with those suggestions. Also, Salem as a boy, according to people who knew me back then, matched the personality I had at the time. So it's probably the most like me in that time capsule that ever got captured on film. There's this notion that you get known for your shadow. You don't really get known as you get known as the thing that you're kind of opposite of. But that, jumping around and doing a skip thing or popping around, flinging around all over the place, that is probably more accurate to a 20-year-old Curtis than anything else.
That's fun.
Yeah.
We obviously just finished recapping it, and the episode hasn't come out yet, but we were watching it, and I think at the end we were both like, it's insane that they saw you and saw the range that you gave in that episode, and then we're like, well, we're done with him. Like,
I mean, Gordie's stuck in detention until master's degree, so.
Right? Yeah, canon-wise, I just don't think he ever made it out of detention.
No.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is like, your facial expressions were so amazing. And it was like, you even had like, there's a part where you sob, like Nick does his like sobbing noise and you do the facial. And I'm like, that's how I would expect that cat to look. Could he sob? Like,
well, I really appreciate that. I was really proud of that episode in general. There was one of the regular stand-ins who also did a couple parts on the show. His name was Sean. And after the table read, Sean made the suggestion, hey, Nick could record all of his lines the way Salem would say them and then give it to Curtis, and then Curtis can learn his rhythms for ADR. And it was like, oh, yeah, let's do that. And so it really did help get those natural Salem rhythms into my own voice, so that worst case scenario, if they decided not to ADR Nick into all that, it would at least still sound like Salem. At least a little bit. The rhythm.
So was there a plan for you to use your own voice at one point?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
when we were doing the show, I was mic'd like normal.
Oh, okay.
Everything was done like normal, and I just did the lines in the scene as you see them done. But then Nick went into the booth afterward. But I don't realistically think, if I had been producing it, especially in the 90s, there's no way we used my voice back in the 90s. Today, I think we would. Only because the audience's sophistication level has gotten to a point where people would ask questions as to why everything else turned into Gordie except for the voice. And it's kind of expected now that a body swap will mean that the voices remain one that should be with that body, if that makes sense. But back in the 90s, no way.
That wasn't even our biggest question about this episode. The biggest question was, where did the house cat soul come from? That takes over. Salem's soul leaves the cat.
We created life somehow.
And then there's a new soul that enters the cat.
No, not a new soul that enters the cat. This is the darkness of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh no.
He was turned into a house cat, but really just put into a house cat. And then witch immortality keeps that cat alive during the course of his confinement.
Where's the body, Curtis?
Okay, I said this, Sky. I said this in our episode. And Sky went, I don't like that explanation. So
where's the human?
Confirmation. It is canon.
I mean, that cat was just a cat and got turned and got a witch put in him. So yeah.
I said that.
Then why isn't the cat dead when the witch goes out temporarily?
You ask questions, Sky, and if you want answers, I could give you answers.
Sky gets so mad about Sabrina logic.
I'm coming to accept that it doesn't exist, but there's moments.
It's something that actually has kind of disappeared from modern television. And I know that this is all said for the bit, right? But in reality, until the early 2000s, like maybe 2005, before serialization became like permanent, every show, canon really didn't exist. It was whatever was convenient for the week to tell the story. So a lot of things, a modern audience is looking for connection, right? And they're looking for that thread. But before, it was always just, what do we need to tell the story? How are we going to get to this point? we need this theme related in 3 acts. So what characters can we use and how can we manipulate the situation to tell this theme in 3 acts? And so it was always week by week by week, but now serialization and stories being connected is expected. So you need to have interior logic. There's no interior logic in the cat. I made all that stuff up. There's none of this stuff. It's not real. You just need to know you're punished, cat, witch, person. And it all just just don't look too close. Yeah.
At the risk of derailing this further, have you heard the aliens theory?
What?
I will find what episode we discussed it on. There's like a whole Reddit thread about how all the witches are actually aliens. And there's evidence to support it.
Okay.
So.
You know what? Actually, you got to remember, most of the writing cast, especially in those early seasons, were from Mystery Science Theater 3000. I would not be surprised if they actually work that in on purpose as an Easter egg for people to try and find eventually. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised.
There are some things that point to it. And now whenever we reach something that can't be explained, we just say aliens.
The aliens.
It's perfect.
Aliens.
It's perfect.
All right. So going back a little further, you were a child actor. In fact, when I was telling my mom, I was like, I'm so excited. We have Curtis Andersen. He played Gordie. And she's like, oh, that's so nice. I'm like, and he was the voice of Schroeder. And she was like, oh gosh. I'm like, I should have led with that. My mother loves peanuts. She doesn't care about what else I do. So yeah. So how did you get into acting in the first place? And why did you stick with it?
That's fair. So I actually got started doing, the first thing I ever did was I was the black sheep in Baba Black Sheep for like a school show when I was 5. Like that was the first thing that I ever did. And the bug got me early. And so when we moved to California in 85, I had just turned 8. And when we moved, it was during the school year and there weren't a lot of kids on my block. And I wasn't able to start school right away because of just how the math worked out. So I didn't have a chance to make friends. And my parents wanted to find a way to get me in front of a lot of people really, really fast. Just to be like, here's a group of kids, go. And there was a community theater group called the Brea Kid Company, and they were doing Oliver. And they were like, you like doing shows in Wisconsin. How about we do shows here? And so auditioned for Oliver, got cast as an orphan. And I did. I ended up making a lot of friends that I had through high school into college at that first show at 85. And then one of my classmates was also a working child actor. And I saw him doing it and I was like, I want to do that. Let's do that. So my dad did some research, found a manager named Phyllis Henson, and we connected with her. And then she was like, you're a diamond in the rough. We just got to get you polished up and get you out there. And so she signed me up with an acting class and she got me signed with my first agent, which was the Savage Agency. And for anybody who's listening who's over 40, you remember this Judy Savage and the Savage Agency. It was great. And within like a week of signing with Judy Savage, I had my first audition, which was the voice of Schroeder for the MetLife commercials that the Peanuts cartoons were all a part of back in the 80s. It was my first audition, and they warned me, look, this is not an easy job. This is not an easy gig. You're going to go, and at the time, the ratio was 30 auditions to 1 job. You're going to go on 30 auditions before you even get your first job, so don't even worry about it, which may have been the best advice, because I went in, did the audition. I remember this so clearly. My dad turned to me as we walked to the car, and he said, that's 1, 29 more to go. And I was like, yeah. Sure enough, we got home, and I booked right away. First audition, first job. And we were like, well, if this keeps up, that'll be great. And so from that, I ended up doing a series of MetLife commercials. And then we started doing cartoons again in 88, 89. And until 1990, I was the voice of Schroeder. There are so many unusual Peanuts things that got recorded in that time, including a live stage show. I don't know if it ever toured, but my voice is on some tape somewhere related to that. So yeah, that was the first gig. And then after that, it was like, well, we just got to keep doing this. So a lot of voiceovers, a lot of commercials as a kid. And then the first like big role that I had was Kirby, who was one of the nerds on Saved by the Bell, the new class. And I did 5 or 6 episodes of that during the first season. And then little guest spots here and there, and then Sabrina. So yeah, it was just one of those things. I did a lot of theater too. I did about 10 years of musical theater. My singing voice is not there anymore. I'm going to have to recover that. But for a while, I was a song and dance man. So yeah, just I like telling stories, and I like being able to perform to tell those stories, and so that's just kind of always been my thing. And so I have continued to do it since then.
Well, we're glad you did.
So besides Sabrina, what has been your favorite set to work on?
Actually, Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh.
That was a good one. I actually have back here, you can see it. I don't know if your people will see it, but there's a drawing. I can't take it off the wall because I use command strips, so it's like stuck there. But John Lithgow made a drawing of the cast, and he would sign it off for guest stars on the show. It was a really... That was another one that was a really neat set to kind of be on because it was all veteran actors, well into the life of the show. So they were all like locked in, loaded. Joseph Gordon-Levitt had the flu that week, so was barely on set. And I didn't really have any interaction with French Stewart or Kristen because they just weren't in any scenes with me. But I did with Jane Curtin and John Lithgow.
Oh.
Yeah, it was pretty great. It was pretty great. John Lithgow let me have lunch with him in his dressing room, and I'm a huge fan of The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, and he let me fanboy out and just talk to him about Buckaroo Banzai for about 45 minutes, and that is probably the most generous thing an elder actor is able to do.
Amazing.
But then I was a smoker back in the day. I don't do that anymore. Kids don't smoke.
Which teen actor was not?
Yeah. I used to hang out with Jane. Back in the day, there used to be corners where you could smoke on the soundstage. And so I happened to be in a place where she liked to be, because that's where the fire bucket was that you'd do. So I ended up having these really great conversations with Jane Curtin not about career stuff, not about the show, just like current events. It was just really neat to be able to connect with somebody on a human level who was a legend in her own right. And she didn't mind talking to a 20-something who was just kind of hanging out. That was another really great set to work on.
That's amazing. Ugh, that's such a special memory. Like,
yeah.
I can't even imagine.
It was really nice. And then, that's a Carsey Werner show. And so after that, I got a chance to be seen by the casting directors under that production company a lot. You could kind of tell when you make a good impression because all of a sudden, like, oh, we could hire this kid. Let's take a look at this kid. Let's see what he can do. So that was pretty nice. It felt validating. Nobody complained about me afterwards, so that's always a good sign.
So kind of on that note, like you weren't tied to like one network or one studio. You kind of hopped around quite a bit.
Yeah.
Were there like cultural differences between, Sabrina on ABC and Seventh Heaven on, was it the WB at the time or?
It was, wasn't it? I think it was, or it was early CW. Seventh Heaven was actually also a really good set, and everybody was really great on that. Everybody was really great on that. But the one that had the biggest, like, contrasting difference was actually Party of Five. Party of Five was a very different atmosphere. It was much more locked down, much more toned down, and very, very, very serious. Oh. And I was used to comedy sets where people are a lot more talkative, and I learned quick that when you are on a single camera drama, they don't want to have those side chats. We're not doing bits with each other. No, okay. Let's do the work and let's get done. So yeah.
Because you hear about like the Boy Meets World kids would hang out with the Home Improvement kids. So I wasn't sure if that was a thing that happened across, no matter it doesn't matter if you're on this night, I'm on this night, I'm on this studio, you're on this stage,
It's actually more about proximity. When we were on Universal during season 1, Mr. Rhodes was shooting across the alley. And when I say alley, it was like a 30-foot street. And so Nate would hang out with Jensen Ackles because their trailers were actually closer to our stage door than the trailers that we had that had to go around the building because you had to make space for the tram tour. And then, when we were at Paramount, I used to see a lot of the Star Trek people because we were only a couple stages away from the 3 stages that Star Trek had. So the short answer is yes. If you were in proximity to other folks, everybody hung out. And, not to speak out of turn, but in town, when you'd go out at night, before the advent of cell phones, you'd see everybody.
Yeah.
You'd see everybody and hang out together. And so, yeah, it's a unique clique to be a part of. There are a lot of people that I can see, even now, who I didn't work with on a regular basis, but may have done an episode here or an episode there. But more importantly, we were in the same cliques at the same bars and restaurants. And it's like, hey, do you remember? No, I wasn't on that show. We used to go there. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay. So, yeah.
That's funny. Different shows have their different bars.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. Whatever's close by. Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't really exist anymore where we have that. The 90s was such a special time of where you all shared in that same experience of this teenage stardom that there's not really a cohesive group. There are teens that come to stardom again, but it's not all happening at the same time and you're all the same age and all growing up together.
Yeah, it's a pretty unique situation. I don't know that it could be replicated, to be honest. Yeah. We had so much anonymity back then too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Soleil Moonfry did a documentary about when she was just recording stuff back in the 90s. I was really worried that I might be in that and not remember. Just 'cause that was the nature of the beast. Mm-hmm. And gratefully, nothing forgotten showed up, that's good. But at the same time, it was very different that you were able to do things that may not have been appropriate, not dangerous, but probably shouldn't have been 19 and drinking. You know what I mean? Probably shouldn't have been smoking like a chimney all the time. Things that if people are watching, you're less likely to do.
Yeah.
It wasn't a problem back then. So, yeah, I don't know if it needs to ever be replicated, but I don't think it could be either. There's just too much knowledge, too much access.
So I feel like we maybe know the answer, but single cam or multicam?
Multicam, but only usually 2. 3 if we had a full thing. Because you remember, the more cameras you have, the more you've got to worry about what coverage for effects too.
Was Sabrina filmed as a normal multicam, even though it didn't have an audience, or did you guys film it as a single cam?
All the sets were set up like a multicam set.
Okay.
So everything was laid out on the floor. The nice thing was we had extra space because no bleachers for the audience.
Yeah.
So like the cafeteria was right next to the classroom in the hallway, which led to the second hallway. We wouldn't have been able to do that if we had bleachers. It would have had to be three different things, kind of like Saved by the Bell. Where the bleachers were normally put was new build area. So that's where we put like the record store when we did Violent Femmes episode. That's where you'd put like the Knoll when we did Suspicious Minds. So there was this grand area that was just ready for new set per episode. And then on the other walls, everything was already set up, house, school, slicery when the slicery still existed, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Speaking of, how was it hanging out with the Violent Femmes? Gordie was their favorite.
It was kind of cool. You got to know that I've been an alternative music fan anyway. So I was already a fan of the Violent Femmes. And we were kind of surprised that it was the Violent Femmes because originally it was supposed to be Smashing Pumpkins, but something came up.
Oh, we're adding that to the Sabrina wiki page. That is not on the Sabrina wiki page.
It wouldn't be. There were a lot of last minute casting changes. That just came down through the grapevine like, oh, it was supposed to be Smashing Pumpkins, but they had to tour or something. When we found out it was the Violent Femmes, Nate, Jenna, and I got excited about it. And then we tried to, like, back and forth, because this was before you could look up lyrics online. We were figuring out the correct order of the one, because you left me in two. Yeah. So, and we were just arguing back and forth. And to this day, Nate will be like, I knew it because I was a huge fan. I knew that song. I was like, yeah, you probably did, but we fought you on it. Because how can you prove it? How are you proving it? How are you proving it? And I remember they were cool to meet, but they were also a little resistant to the show. Like the bass player asked me, so who are you on this? And I was like, oh, I'm Gordie. I'm the resident geek. And he was like, geeks are cool. My girlfriend's a geek. And I was like, oh, yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, that's just my stereotype. But they were good sports about just like getting on it and doing it. And they actually played, what is it? Throw out your TV or destroy your TV. They played that as the song that we had in the car that we were listening to during the car scene. And throw out your television.
Throw out your TV or something like that.
Yeah. The whole point is television is awful. You should not listen to it. So they were being subversive while they were on the show. But yeah, it was cool to be with alternative underground musicians. I was really into REM at the time. I still am. But at the time it was like, oh yeah, this is college rock radio band. There's street cred here. Yeah, I'm just some network kid. I get it. I'm representing the man. Like, I understand why you're a little angry about it, but like, I'm with you. Solidarity. So yeah.
I have been waiting 3 seasons to ask you this question.
Oh,
Laura
Lord.
really has.
I don't know if you've listened to this part. I grew up in Utah. Sky grew up in Idaho. Grew up as part of the predominant religion here.
Yes.
How did you get cast on Work in the Glory?
Oh.
What was that like?
Okay.
I fully admit I've never watched the movies, haven't read the books. Sky, haven't you read the books?
Yeah, and watched at least the first 2 movies.
I was a bad Mormon. It's fine.
Yeah, hey, for what it's worth. The books are solid historical fiction. They really are. It was a regular audition, like anything else. They were just auditioning out of LA. I knew it was a book series, and I knew it was a 9-book series. And I was like, let's do this. So many times, there's going to be so few times that you're ever going to talk to an actor, and they're going to be like, I knew this was the one. Like, the miracle story is always, I was selling my last piece of furniture, and then I got this gig. I was about to move back to wherever, and then I got this gig. But Work of the Glory was just, that was standard audition, roll in, do the gig, not sure if you're going to get it or not, and then find out a couple days later, you're booked, you're going to Knoxville. But because it was such a big book series, I ended up reading the first 3 books because they were during the first 3 movies. And then I ended up finishing all 9 just because I had to know what happened. So I also like books, so that helps. But yeah, so the short answer is I auditioned for it, I got the show. But it ended up being a really, really neat movie to work on. And I'm really bummed we didn't get a chance to finish the series because the plans for what they had were really cool. And they had built an entire town out in a field in Knoxville to
Whoa.
use for the set, including a small sound stage to be able to do interiors and stuff. So like they could have gone another 3 movies easy with just what they had before they had to erect something else, because the story changes. I don't know how far you've gotten, but by the time we get to book 7, things are getting crazy.
We're familiar with the history.
Yeah, right.
Fortunately or unfortunately, TBD.
I was also just kind of surprised. I'm like, the church hired actors who were not. We have so many actors out here in Utah. We have a ton of homegrown talent.
I think if they had shot in Utah, you probably would have seen more of that, but they weren't. They were shooting in Knoxville. Even though it wasn't a major studio release, they were playing with investor money. And so it was gonna be cast out of LA and New York, especially because a lot of these folks aren't actual Mormons and it later turned on them. So I think there's probably a little bit of calculus that would match more where you're thinking than you think.
Well, there is kind of a revival movement of these kind of religious shows, so maybe they'll bring it back.
Who
maybe
knows?
They'll finish
Who
it
knows?
off.
Carl Rogers at 49, ready to do it. Let's go. I can use a flintlock. I've done some things.
Put that in your bio line.
Right.
So sometimes we watch things that aren't Sabrina. A lot of times too. Do you like a break between seasons or around holidays or, whatnot there? Which of your past projects should we watch and recap?
That's a good question.
Work in the Glory.
I mean, yeah, those are fun. That's great, actually. I think you want to take a break from the wild and the silly, right?
We'll do whatever. I mean, we did, Caroline and Beth did a holiday movie a couple of years ago that we did.
Yes.
We did Melissa's Holiday in Handcuffs, and we also did one of her Lifetime movies, which those two have far more in common than you would think.
Have you seen the new one she did?
What's the new one that she did?
Oh, it was really good. Now I can't remember the title.
We did Killing the Competition. That was her.
No, it came out like last year.
Oh, I don't know.
It's the newest one. It was really good. It was really cute. But if you want to do mine, you should just do the first season of Saved by the Bell, the new class. It's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. And then have me on after that, and I will tell you I have no dark stories about Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I have nothing but good, fun stories to tell. Nate getting into Bob Dylan, buying himself one of those harmonica things that goes over your neck while he played acoustic guitar. Embarrassing myself in front of Martin Mull. I have nothing but good time tales to tell about that show. I have terrible things that happened on Saved by the Bell, the new class.
Oh no.
It's not even the worst things in the world. It's not even like drugs or like murder. It's just like, this guy was a jerk.
Oh.
We got letters about this thing. They had to fire people.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah. Now we're definitely going to do it. And then we're going to sell our podcast episode to the tabloids with like, Sabrina Starr tells all.
Right? Oh, okay. This is related to that. I actually did get a call from that HBO documentary series that does the gotcha slander.
Yeah.
Because they were asking, they're doing one on Dustin Diamond. And I was never on the show when Dustin Diamond was there, but Dustin didn't live in LA either. So I saw him in the Orange County scene, like around Anaheim, Fullerton, places like that. And I don't have a bad thing to say about the guy, but I always did feel bad for him because he could never escape Screech.
Mm-hmm.
It was always there.
Yeah.
And sometimes he'd try to lean into it, and then sometimes he'd try to push against it, and people wouldn't give him a break. And when they called, it was like, nobody needs to speak on this. It was a tragedy, man. It was never easy for that man.
Yeah.
Let's just let it go. But it's coming. You'll see it on HBO soon. So there you go. Not to get dark, but not to get chilling adventures of Sabrina about it. But
we do not discuss that show.
So we look at actors' bios, we talk about what things they've been in. There's a lot of like random B movies that I'm making a list for. Tell me about Squirrel.
Squirrel is great. Okay, so Squirrel is put together by directors Jordan Long and, how am I going to forget Matt's name right now? That's terrible. But Half Cut T, HCT Media. is their production company. And I had a chance to do a short with them called I Hate Mondays. And we did that for part of the Fun Size Horror series that we did back in 2014. These are two really awesome creative guys. And then Jordan ended up marrying Tara Perry, who, if you're a Fresh Beat Band fan, was the second keyboard redhead on that show, who is also a very, very talented actress and singer. Got to know them through that original short. And then they were like, we're doing a feature. We're doing Squirrel. We're doing it at this house that we've got up in Vermont. It's a goofy one, but it's a good time. It's a good time. The important thing to know about Squirrel is that the reason it's called Squirrel is squirrels are the first animal ever recorded who collected maple syrup. Yeah.
I love a cult movie.
Yeah.
I love a comedy.
It's a spooky comedy.
Yeah. Love a spooky.
Me as a cult leader is probably the role that most people thought I would take on in life. Feels good. Feels good to live that one through. So yeah.
I can see you in a white robe, some beads.
Right? Well, imagine a velvet smoking jacket, and that's kind of where we're at.
Okay.
So yeah.
That kind of cult leader. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Very comfortable slippers.
I would join that cult.
Yeah. Comfortable slippers. It's the tripping point. Yeah, for real. Meow.
Moving into the present and future. One of your biggest things you're doing right now, obviously, is the podcast with Nate. We've talked a little bit about it on our podcast and have told people to listen to it.
Appreciate that.
As I listen to you guys more and more hit your stride, and I'm like, it's basically like our banter, but without the Sabrina stuff. It's just like if Sky and I were to just sit down and talk about random things, like it would be very similar. My favorite is when you make a reference to pop culture and Nate has no idea what it is. And then you have to try and explain it to him. I think my favorite, like, well, whatever from your podcast is you're talking about Brandon Sanderson and Nate goes, oh, but I know who that is. And you just go, no.
Yeah. It's hard to describe Brandon to someone who doesn't know.
Yeah.
How did the podcast come about? Like, what made you guys think to do it? And yeah.
Well, so Nate and I, as I've mentioned earlier in this session, I was a guest star. So I got along with people while we were there, but I rarely saw people outside of the show, except for Jenna at audition. So Nate and I got along really well on set. And we really enjoyed palling around together when we were on set. But he was never coming to Orange County. I wasn't coming to LA that often if I wasn't working. So it just kind of, it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, I'm really good to see you. But then we did the Sabrina reunion back right before the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And he and I were there together, and it was like no time had passed. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, we were just chatting and hanging out, and he got along really well with my wife, Renee. It just spun back up like nothing had happened. So now that I'm an adult who isn't constantly stymied by his own anxiety, we kept in touch after that. And we'd get on the phone, and we'd be talking for a while, and after a couple weeks, my wife was like, if you guys weren't two white men, I'd say just turn this into a podcast. Actually, I should take that back. I added that for comedic effect. That is not what she said. What she actually said was, the quote from Renee was, you should just record that as a podcast. You two on the phone, it's fun to listen to. This little bromance is fun to listen to. I was the one who said, nobody needs two more white men on microphones. Nobody does. Nobody does. So we fought it for a long, long, long time. And it got to the point where other people would see us together, because we get to, whenever Renee and I go to California, we end up hanging out with Nate for a certain amount of time. He lets us stay with him. He's got a space that our dog Arlo really likes to go. It just works out really well. And it got to the point where as people saw us interacting, they were like, this is a show, guys. You guys just do it. Like, it's just something you do. So eventually we caved and decided we're not going to make any effort. We're going to record it on Zoom. All you got to do is sit down. I'll do like bullet points in case we run out of things to talk about. And then we'll just record it. We'll record for like an hour and then we'll cut. And that'll be it. And I'll cut it together and we'll put it out. And for months, we just recorded stuff and we weren't sure if we were ever going to release it, which is why the stuff you're hearing now is like a year old, because it's taken that long for us to be like, well, should we? I don't know. But apparently we should have just started right away, because people seem to be enjoying it quite a bit. Mm-hmm. It's working out. And we've got merch now. We got merch.
Where's the toilet paper rolls?
They're right here is where they are. Whoa. In a giant bag getting ready for signatures is what they're doing.
We held up our part of the bargain and sent you a sticker, so we get one of those.
Yes. Do's are on their way. So, yes, it is happening. It is happening. But it turns out the other merch makers don't do toilet paper rolls. We got to do that on our own.
Crazy.
But yeah, so we started a Patreon because we were like, if anybody's going to watch, like, let's see if they'll pay for it. Let's just do it. Let's just put it up. We'll make it happen. I'll be damned if it hasn't actually become something that people are excited about. And it turns out listening to two guys talk about things in an honest and authentic way without too much editing, there's a little, but not too much, is apparently entertaining enough to do. So yeah, it's all because my wife was like, you guys sound good together.
She's a smart lady.
She is. She's a very smart lady. I really should just listen to her more every time.
What's her cut of all these Patreon funds?
Right. Well, what's mine is hers, so it's like, it's at least 50. But she also keeps us busy with, while the show is definitely something that gets a lot of attention because of the Sabrina-ness of it, we have a production company that we restarted at the end of last year. And so she actually stays busy doing the theater. She's a musical theater artist, and we're in production right now. We've got 3 projects that we're working on with our own company, and one of them is a television show called Rainbow Bridge, which is too much to talk about here. But we keep busy with that. So it's something else that keeps us going.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
And then I opened a game store with one of my oldest, dearest friends here in Portland. So between the store and production, I'm terribly behind on paperwork. Like the contract work I was telling you about that I'm trying to wrap up and I'm just not, is all related to the production that we're doing here and a personal appearance that Nate and I are doing for the podcast during Pride Week here in Portland. And so it's got to get done, but this is a lot more fun to do than legalese. Yeah.
Very true. So how would you say your experience as an actor has helped inform, producing and directing on all these projects you're working on?
There's no tougher job than entertainment. And once you've done it, the crossover skills are tremendous and prepare you for literally everything else that you could possibly do. I have worked in corporate. I have worked for the Mouse. I have worked for startup companies, and none of them require the same amount of effort, brain power, or perseverance that an entertainment career has had. So being an actor for as long as I have, what I got a chance to do was see how everything works from a safe space. As long as I was showing up, hitting my mark, doing my lines, and satisfying that requirement, I could check out gear, how things worked, what setups were like, ask questions, see how things go. There's a reason why you see a lot of actors end up directing shows that they work on, because you get to know the crew, you get to know how everything works style-wise, and eventually your eye just knows how to set up a shot for what you're working on because you just know it so well. And then when you continue doing that, your point of view gets to be a thing where you're like, okay, I know this now. I need to go do something else so you can see how this works when I'm not confined. Because now I'm confined by what you got. Now I want to break out a little bit. It's all crossover. And it all works. And entertainment is one of the last businesses that I think is truly one where you can be a apprentice. Where it can be an apprenticeship, where you actually learn by doing under the tutelage of experts, as opposed to, I read in a book, I took a test, and now I go do it.
Yeah.
And there's no real wrong answer. There's just better choices. So even mistakes can work out because they're not really mistakes. It's just a process you did in a different way. So yeah, it all carries over. It all carries over. And the longer you have to get comfortable with it, the better you will be when you're doing it.
And you and Nate just released a short Under 5, right?
Yeah. Under 5, available on YouTube. Yeah. Originally, we set that up because Renee, Nate, our buddy Jeff, who's also in that, and myself, we just needed fresh tape. We haven't been on a lot of the latest show that I did a couple years ago hasn't been released yet. Criminal will eventually be on Amazon, and you will get to see me play a criminal. It's great. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait until I can tell the world, look at me, I'm a criminal. So we just needed some fresh tape that wasn't 30 years old. So my buddy Jeff was an actor for a long time, and then he had a rock band called 7K, which is really good. They're still on Spotify. And then he became an author. And so he wrote Under 5 for us to shoot just so we could chop it up into material for our reels. But while we were shooting it, we were kind of like, this might actually be good enough. We could do this. We could do something with this. Yeah, so we could do this. It took 2.5 years, but we eventually got an editor. Aaron cut it together for us, made it look real pretty, and now it's out there in the world. So yeah.
Awesome.
And I directed that with Nate.
That's so cool. Is there anything else coming up that you're really excited about that you can talk about?
Well, that's fair. That's fair. Rainbow Bridge is coming up. That's going to be really cool. And then there is a comic book that we're doing of a project called I Hate Mondays, ... and Demons.
Ooh.
That we were originally talking to Lionsgate about producing, but all of the executives that were helping us got laid off. Because I'm not sure if you're aware, but the entertainment industry is in a bit of a collapse. So it's been a little tough. So we're turning the script into a comic book so people can kind of see it and understand it, get excited about it, and then maybe we produce it on our own. And then we're in the process of getting a live show called Cole is King. It's a play by Quick Jones, who is a award-winning playwright, done up here in Portland. I did the reading for it last year, and it's a really great story about the first woman at a particular mining company in Virginia. And it really touches on what it was like to be a woman in a man's world in the 70s. And how turns out things haven't actually changed that much. Still pretty rough out there. We only got a chance to do a staged reading of that show, and I really think that story is something that will resonate really strongly with people right now. Mm-hmm. So we're making an effort to get it fully produced up here in Portland. But if you want to hear about all these things, you can follow us on our Patreon. Yeah.
No, for sure. Give a shout out for like where people can find you. If you want to shout out the game shop too, we're happy to have you do that.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I mean, the easiest thing to do is find me on Instagram, and then the link in the bio has all of the links thanks to Linktree. So you'll be able to find everything there. And then Board Bard Games is in beautiful downtown Montevilla in Portland, Oregon, right next to Tinker Tavern and Ranch Pizza. So if you are in the Portland area, come on down and see us. We are, I think, the only 5-star store in the city. So come check out our wonderful lending library and our play space.
Did you put a bird on your shop?
It's funny that you mentioned that. No. Although Portlandia is a documentary and not a comedy show.
It's true.
Yeah.
I was so confused what you were talking about. I just chalked it up to some like geek game thing. I didn't understand. I'm like, okay. Game shops, they have birds, sure.
Actually, we do, because of Wingspan. That is, that's a geek joke, though. That's, yeah.
We have a couple quick questions to wrap things up.
Ready for lightning round.
Excluding Nate, because that's cheating. Which Sabrina castmate would you prefer to be stuck in an elevator with?
I'm going to go with Jenna, because we would have things to, like, talk about.
And she can sing to you to pass the time.
Right? I wouldn't make her do that. No. I'd just try and get her to, like, give me all the tea on what's going on Broadway right now.
Oh, yeah.
That's another industry that's doing great right now.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always tea on Broadway.
Yep.
If you could be the spokesperson for any company, what would you choose?
You know, what the worst thing about this is that there are times when I will straight up be like, I will totally sell this.
We've tried to get Planters Peanuts to sponsor us on this podcast.
That's fair. Have they not reached back out at all?
No, they did not. Mr. Peanut did not respond.
That's a shame. I got it. I would be the spokesperson for Games Workshop, which is a geeky tabletop war game. They do fantasy and future stuff. They have their own people, but I really want to be the spokesperson just so I can, like, they have a history of not being very direct with their fan base and customer base. And I would just love to be the guy that comes on and is like, yeah, we didn't make that. We didn't make it. We're not gonna. We're not. We're just not. I know you're going to buy it anyway. It's okay. It's okay. Trust me when I say eventually we will release this thing, but it's not this month. It's not this month. It's just not happening.
So less spokesperson, more bad news deliverer.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But it's the same thing.
Okay.
It's the same
Love
thing.
that.
Yeah.
What is your favorite bad movie?
Friday the 13th part. Which part is it that he goes to space? Part 7?
Oh, no.
8? It's 10 because he goes to space. Friday the 13th, Jason goes to space. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. And I love slasher movies anyway. So it's just kind of the natural end point. It also started when every bad slasher went to space. Not long after that, we got Chucky in space. We got Leprechaun in space. I don't think we got Chucky in space, but we got Leprechaun in space. Everybody eventually went to space. And it's all because Jason Voorhees was the pioneer on that.
I wonder if Ghostface will ever make it to space.
I think we got another 6 movies before that happens.
At least, yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't put it past them.
And they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
What's your favorite category of board game?
I like RPGs and tabletop war games personally because I like telling stories. So anything that allows me to tell a story is a pretty good thing. I end up running a lot of role-playing games at the store. But Final Girl is my favorite actual board game. And that's a solo play. And I just get an hour and a half to myself just making people run around and run away from scary people.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. D&D, which class and race?
I'm either going to be a bard or a cleric. Probably going to be a cleric, though. No multi-classing because that's for chumps. I started as an AD&D kid, so I believe that any of this not picking a god to follow at the beginning is complete and total BS. You are a cleric, so you better be clericing for somebody, is all I'm saying.
Very valid.
But I also like to be a combat cleric. I like to beat people up while I'm worshiping my god.
I mean, that's all religion, right? Like,
right.
history?
Come say, come sa. It's facts. Yeah. History says so. So yes.
We're so grateful. I've been wanting to do interviews for a bit, but Sky's never actually seen Sabrina all the way through. So like I can't have Melissa on until the season finale, like the series finale, because Sky won't know half the things we're talking about. Right. But I also wanted to talk to you, and I want to reach out to some of the other like lesser known people who are behind the scenes, because I feel like those are the stories that don't get told as much. So I'm very grateful to start off with you as a face that people recognize and as somebody who's done such great work on Sabrina. And if you had fun, tell your friends.
Networking.
I think I could probably tell a couple people. Yeah.
Well, thank you again. Come back anytime.
We're going to have a hard time justifying it because there's not a lot of Gordie after this point, in that there's no more Gordie in this point.
We'll do a spinoff to start watching Saved by the Bell, the new class.
Oh,
so
my goodness. Yeah.
Bring you back on for that.
That'll be something witchy after dark.
Perfect. We have a name already.
It's so wild because there were such good things that came out of that show. But at the same time, we were doing that first season when Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was becoming a hit. And so they just started taking over the rest of the soundstage and all the backstage areas as that show got more and more popular. And so instead of sharing the space, all of a sudden it was like, oh, we have the set and like 2 rooms.
Oh, no.
And everything else was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, no.
Yeah. To be fair, it was bringing in a lot more money than Saved by the Bell, the new class was. But yeah, it was just funny to watch. You'd show up and all of a sudden they'd be like, oh, that's not our hallway anymore. Oh, okay. I also, on that show, I saw Celine Dion before Celine Dion was in America.
Oh.
She was doing her first Tonight Show appearance. And one of my buddies, one of the other nerds on the show, he was like, I'm going to go watch the sound check for this amazing French singer from Canada. And she's releasing her first album in the US. And I want this opportunity to see her before she becomes famous. And I was like, who is it? He was like, Celine Dion. I was like, I've never heard of her. He was like, you will though. And he was right.
Wow.
He was right. And so we just went into the Tonight Show stage and sat down in some of the chairs. And sure enough, sound check. And a sound check is not a concert. A sound check is, I'm singing my song. Wait. Can we get more on this? I need more on this. We need more back. Okay. Singing my song. No. How's that look? How's that? Am I in lights? Are we doing great? Singing my song. Great. See at 9. And that's what it was. But even her sound check was like, wow, that's really amazing. It was a neat time, but what a weird show to work on.
Well, until next time, folks, we won't have Curtis again, but you'll still get us. So, yay. Please like, share, rate, and subscribe to this podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at somethingwitchypod. You can email us at somethingwitchypod@gmail.com. Until next time.
Stay meowgical.
Cat noise.